Okay, wonderful. So, hey, welcome to today's Saturday Learn and Earn. My name's Russ Field. I'm one of the administrators of the co-op. I have the Director of Field Force Management, Mr. Robin Costelloe, with me today, and he's going to take about 45 minutes of your time and go through the rise of Bitcoin. And I'm telling you, if you haven't had an opportunity to be able to see this, and once we get this recording out to you later on this afternoon, please share it with everybody you have. And today's a really special day. And on the screen right now, you see this this company called Rapid Funnel. And very quickly, one of my friends in the industry, he's a multi-millionaire, invited me out to see his company about a couple months ago. And ever since he showed me this system and talked about the numbers of his people and how fast they grew quarter over quarter by about 40%, just slaughtering everybody else in the company. When I looked at this, because I come from the space, I was like, this is the best lead generation follow-up, system, analytics system that's got a great user interface that I've ever seen. And instantly I took it to the administrators and I said, look at guys, we need to figure out, how to put this in our company so that every person has an opportunity to really, have the best of the best when it comes to being able to build on the side of building. And everybody agreed, and we pulled the trigger actually on Thursday. So on May 7th, this should be ready for us to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to show about a 3.5-minute video first. Then once that video is over, I'm going to introduce Robin. We're going to get to the rise of Bitcoin. So Robin, you can certainly press play on the video now. Okay, great. So what we're going to be doing on Monday night on our team call at 7 p.m. PDT or 10 EDT, we're going to be doing a full training on that system with one of the executives of Rapid Funnel. And yeah, we're really, really excited about it because, man, once you have the power at your fingertips to be able to keep everybody in a very, very simple system, then you have the ability to help them out. But the best part about it is that when you start helping other people out, the person who enrolled you actually sees what you're doing as well so that they can help you out. So now you have the ability from a metrics point of view to be able to help and manage your whole team in one space, in one click of a button. I've never seen anything so powerful, and boy, are we ever excited about that. So with that, what I'm going to do is send things over to Mr. Robin Costelloe.
All righty, so CryptoCashNation, here we go. So we're going to integrate all of this together as we're building. We're still in beta mode, I guess, but that looks like an exciting application for Apple and Android. So that's going to be very powerful. And the power of the technology we got in our hands with these smartphones these days is absolutely mind-boggling. So it's just a matter of using that power to build something worthwhile out of it. And I can think of nothing better than wealth. Build wealth for yourself, for your family, whatever that's going to bring you, more time, more freedom, more whatever, more travel. And we are going to bring all these elements together through CryptoCashNation very quickly over these next number of months here. So I think the key important thing is, you know, what's this all about? You know, what is cryptocurrencies, and what is Bitcoin, and what is a blockchain? And you know, you can go out there and research it, which I certainly have done, and we are doing as a group and bringing the elements together. So this is a presentation I'd like to go through here today about the rise of, well, cryptos, but specifically Bitcoin being the king of cryptos for the time being here. So you get a good gist of where it's at. So let's just get right into it. We're going to go through the Bitcoin timeline. Now, just to give you an idea here, I got started with hearing about Bitcoin in 2009 when a friend of mine, a business acquaintance of mine, came up to me and said, listen, you need to get $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. They're 10 cents each. And I didn't have a clue what he was talking about. And I asked him, why? Well, because you can send it from one portion of the planet to another area of the planet for next to no fees, no wire transfer fees, and it's immediate. And I'm going, okay, well, hang on a second. I thought it was some sort of PayPal transfer money thing. You know, first of all, I don't know anyone on the other side of the planet. And secondly, if I did, I certainly wouldn't be sending him $1,000. So I'm not really interested. Now, if you do the math, $1,000 at 10 cents a pop would have got me 10,000 coins. Now, Bitcoin peaked out at over 20,000 Canadian dollars just before Christmas here. That would have been worth over $200 million. I would have been worth over $200 million if only I was listening. I was listening, but I didn't pay any attention because I didn't understand what I was listening to. So anyway, I don't think about that anymore. I've gotten involved in Bitcoin. I've made 200 million, but I've certainly done very well last year. And I'm getting prepared now and geared up for the next major move forward the CryptoC was just talking about. So let's have a look at this timeline thing here. And I'm going to go through this in a little bit more detail as we go through here. And we're going to talk about these elements as we go through the presentation. But as you can see on the left, Bitcoin was down there, and on the right, Bitcoin was up there, and it did a tremendous rate of growth. So let's get right into the nitty gritty here. Now, here's 3 websites I like. And again, before April the 1st of 2017, I was not involved in cryptos or Bitcoin. Didn't understand it. Since then, I've really gotten into it. And here's 3 really good websites that you might want to take a screenshot or whatever. But CoinCap here, let's just click on them, have a quick look at them here. I like CoinCap. Now, there's a number of them out there. There's CoinMarketCap and CoinCap. CryptoZ likes CoinMarketCap. I like CoinCap because you can get in here and change the currency. We're in Canada, so I like looking at Canadian dollars because it's more than American dollars when it pops up. And here, look, Bitcoin right at the top of the pile here, and there's about 600 of them in here. There's a whole ton of them. But Bitcoin is right at the top here. Here's the market capitalization, 159 billion, and the price today, well, it's just moving up and down. It's live. It's 12,000 Canadian dollars. Wow, this is pretty exciting because it was only about 6,000 or 7,000, 8,000 Canadian a few weeks ago. Here's the 24-hour VWAP, whatever that means. Sultan can tell us about that. But the available supplies, 17 million and 3,000 and a half coins here. 24-hour volume was $7.9 billion in exchange volume into and out of Bitcoin, one way or the other over the last 24 hours, which is a 0.93% increase. And we can go buy and sell. Now, up at the top here, if you can see at the top of my screen where my mouse is now, the capitalization for all of these cryptos is 429 billion, right? Now remember, 500 billion is half a trillion, so that's 0.4 of 42% of $1 trillion is in the crypto market, and that moves in and out by tens and hundreds of billions of dollars every day. Now, of this capitalization, Bitcoin commands 159 billion of that, and all of the other coins command 270 billion of that. So it's considerable. And this has been as high as $750 billion in capitalization. So I like going here and watching what's going on. It's easy to see Ethereum, Ripple, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, all funny, strange names. Tron sounds exciting. I remember that name from a movie. Neo, well, that was a name from another movie. And, you know, Dash, here's another one down here. And you can follow these quite happily. But that's one I like to follow is CoinCap. CoinDesk is another very interesting site. It's a site that comes up with news. And it's all kinds of news pulled in from the crypto community. And it's a great thing to look at here. Like CryptoZ was just talking about Binance. Well, what the dickens is Binance all about? Well, here we go. Bermuda Inc., a 15 million crypto investment agreement or whatever. Something's going on in there. 5 more payment firms to adopt Ripple, which is a big thing. And there's all kinds of stories in here. And I tell you, if you're going to get into this and start building a serious portfolio and wealth for yourself and your family, you need to be reading the stories. And be involved in it. Bitcoin Wisdom is another one. It's a very simple sort of site. It's just got 3 things in here. You got Bitcoin, Litecoin, and altcoin, but it gives you Bitcoin in US dollars, euros, and Canadian. So, you know, if you're in the States or in Euro listening in here or Europe, you can see the price of it real quick. And again, it's all live. And what that is these exchanges here, it's the average of the prices on here. So again, you can watch this thing go up and down. So very quickly, you can go to that site and see, you know, what the value of cryptos and things are. But I like those 3 sites. There's many other sites out there, but that's a good start for people. Now,
I think this is a currency that's really going to work eventually.
Well, I think it is working, and there will be other currencies like it that may be even better. But in the meantime, there's a big industry around Bitcoin, and you know, people have made fortunes out of Bitcoin.
People have made fortunes out of Bitcoin. People like me that did get involved and make millions and tens and hundreds of millions of dollars from the very beginning. But it's been important to listen to the market. These are the sort of people I listen to. And there's all kinds of conflicting stories out there, but you do not want to be listening to your next door neighbor, your best friend or business acquaintance that doesn't even have an e-wallet, that hasn't got a clue what you're talking about, that's read some stupid article and is all doom and gloom. These are the sort of people you need to be listening to. And I got this is a 5-minute clip of an interview I found on the internet, and I've clipped it up here. But Richard Branson and some of these top people have been advocates of Bitcoin since day one. Let's have another listen. This guy is an interesting chap here. He's got quite some interesting things to say.
Bitcoin and things like it is the equivalent of the red pill. Okay? We are entering a completely world of uncharted water right now.
Have you made any investments in Bitcoin?
So, I mean, I personally own Bitcoin in my hedge fund. I own Bitcoin in my fund. I own Bitcoin in my private account. It is a huge deal. It's a huge, huge, huge deal. Because what you're talking about right now is for the next 3 to 5 years, an unbelievably better store of value. It is gold 2.0.
Now we all know this chap.
Bitcoin is exciting because it shows how cheap it can be. Bitcoin is better than currency in that you don't have to be physically in the same place. And of course, for large transactions, currency can get pretty inconvenient.
You'll see Bitcoin trading at 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000. Rick Falkvinia does an excellent analysis. He predicts that Bitcoin will capture between 1 and 10% of the global FOREX market, which implies a price of between $100,000 to $1 million per Bitcoin. Most of the people who are on the sidelines not buying Bitcoin today will start to buy Bitcoin when it gets over 1,000, and then a greater percentage of people will definitely plow into Bitcoin when it starts to get over 10,000.
Now, he said some very interesting things in there, and if you don't really understand what he's talking about, it doesn't make any sense. But let's listen again. Let's listen to that last little clip again, very carefully.
Rick Falkvinia does an excellent analysis. He predicts that Bitcoin will capture between 1 and 10% of the global FOREX market, which implies a price of between $100,000 to $1 million per Bitcoin.
Now, when I'm showing people this presentation, I usually pause here and just let that sink in. Because a lot of people can't cope with this. They can't cope with $100,000 or $1 million per Bitcoin because they try to put it into a box of something they can understand, like a stock or a bond or something of that nature, and it just doesn't compute, because that's all they're looking at. They're not looking at this here where it says Bitcoin could capture between 1 to 10% of the global Forex market. Now, the vast majority of people running around out there in jobs and trying to make money and pay bills and so on and so forth are involved in a system that they haven't got a clue what the system is. And it's called the Forex market. They don't even know what the Forex market is. It's an acronym for foreign exchange. Now, CryptoZ and I and Russ and the gang, we know a little bit about the Forex market. So let's now do a bit of mathematics here and try and figure this out. Let's do some basic math and try and figure out what the dickens they're all talking about here. Okay, so I got into the internet there and did some research there, and let's see what the volume are these days. Now, I found it, the volume in 2003 for the Forex market, they were reporting in those days, and here we are, you know, 6, 7 years later on, 5, 6, 7 years later, $5.3 trillion a day. That's a lot. The difference between a billion and a trillion, if you equate it to seconds, a billion seconds is about 30 years. A trillion seconds is about 30,000 years. There's a massive difference between a billion and a trillion. It's an obscenely, massively huge market. So $5.3 trillion a day. Now, if we take a look at this, the vast majority of all of that is done with these currencies. 90%, 5% of all that, 5.3 trillion, or at least 5 trillion a day, is done through these markets here. The euro, the Canadian dollar, the US dollar, the British pound, the Swiss franc, the yuan, new to the table, so to speak, the Australian New Zealand dollars, and the yen. These 9 currency pairs, and they're called fiat currencies. And what do? Well, they just trade backwards and forwards. So, you know, we're in Canada here, you may be down in the United States, but, you know, you do business with, or companies do business with Europe. So they have to exchange the US dollars into euros. It's called the exchange. Well, that's 5 trillion a day. And then you mentioned this word fiat currency. People don't even understand what fiat currencies are. So I've got a quick little video clip here to explain what fiat currencies are. Let's have a watch of this.
Well, fiat currency, of course, is a currency that exists at the dictate or by fiat from a government. You see, they have their printing presses, and the paper money rolls off the printing presses. And then they give it the fiat designation, which makes the currency official. It's just worthless paper. But when Ben Bernanke gives it the special sign, and they have the cult meeting at the Federal Open Market Committee meetings, it suddenly becomes currency.
If you look at what's really going on, it's a con game. And so there's confidence. Well, the Federal Reserve is very forthright about what they're doing. If you read their websites, they'll tell you it's a confidence game. They tell you that there's no intrinsic value in their money. They'll tell you that they print it backed by absolutely nothing. They actually display all these facts. But if you tell somebody in the public that this stuff is created out of thin air, there's no backing whatsoever, it's absolutely worthless, it's about as valuable as monopoly money, they'll look at you like you're nuts.
And this is the issue that we're facing. We're facing 99.999% of the population on the planet here that are involved in these fiat currencies that haven't got a clue about what they're involved in. But when you start doing the smallest amount of research and you start understanding that this stuff, like he says, is as worthless as monopoly money, because it is, it's just digital zeros and ones in your bank account or whatever, and it's just absolute garbage. So there's a major shift moving from fiat currencies, from currencies that are unbacked by anything, that the government are misusing because they're just printing and printing and printing and printing and printing and printing by the billions and trillions of dollars, causing inflation. And that's another subject that we're going to be touching on here real quick, inflation. And again, people just do not understand inflation. So when we look at these 9 major currency pairs, now there's a new currency on the market and has been since 2009. It's called Bitcoin. And Bitcoin now, because it's been in the market since 2009, it's beginning to be recognized as a new global currency. So it's going to be currency number 10, so to speak, and it's going to go through a maturation period of coming into equilibrium with these other currencies that are already being traded. And as it comes into equilibrium, the value against these currencies is also going to come into maturity. Now, for you folks that remember a number of years ago when the euro first came out, you know, there was the euro skeptics out there. Oh, that, you know, the euro money is going to be a waste of time. The Germans have made a massive mistake getting rid of their Deutschmarks, and the English had done the right thing but not getting involved in it, and it's just not going to go in it. Well, the euro right now is the most heavily traded currency on the planet against the American dollar. And it has gone up in value significantly. People that got involved in the euro at the very beginning, they made a lot of wealth according to that. So if we took a look at this $5 trillion a day and times it by just 1%, it equals 50 billion. So if Bitcoin equals just 1% of the daily Forex volume, it could easily exceed $50,000 per coin in value. At 1%, or 50 billion in transactions or exchange every day. And we're seeing that become into equilibrium. So over the next couple of years, 2019, 2020, 21, and so on and so forth, as the exchange between fiat and Bitcoin and other cryptos increases significantly, that's where we're going to see the value. Now, again, the euro started at a low volume, and it went up, and then it came down, and it went up, and it came down. It didn't just go from nothing to the most heavily traded currency on the planet in no time flat. It took a time to go through a range of maturity over time, and that's what we're seeing with Bitcoin here. So Bitcoin exchanges are trading up to, and have traded up to $22 billion in a day. And we'll show you that. They trade 24 hours, 7 days a week globally. You can watch Bitcoin go up and down in value 24 hours, 7 days a week. So let's have a deeper look then at Bitcoin. Okay, Satoshi Nakamoto. So again, Wikipedia is a great place to go to. You know, open up Wikipedia, type in Bitcoin, and this name Satoshi Nakamoto comes up. It took me quite a while to try and remember this, but Satoshi Nakamoto. Satoshi Nakamoto is the unknown person or persons who designed Bitcoin and the first blockchain database. Speculation about the true identity of Satoshi Nakamoto is focused on a number of computer science experts living in the United States and Europe. So what I did then is I just typed in Satoshi, and then I did a different search for just Nakamoto. Nakamoto came up with a venerable Japanese name. If you're a Nakamoto in Japan, you're one of the elite families, so to speak, which is interesting because Japan was the first government on the planet to make Bitcoin legal tender. I thought that was interesting. But what does it say about Satoshi? Well, this is what a Satoshi is. The word Bitcoin is split up into two words, Satoshi. And in Wikipedia, it explains what a Satoshi is. That is a Satoshi. 0.7 zeros and a 1. So the Satoshi is showing you the smallest bit of a Bitcoin. It doesn't get any smaller than that. You'll never get 8 zeros and a 1. It is 7 zeros and a 1 is the smallest bit of a Bitcoin, and it's called a bit, right? So that there, 0.701 is a bit, which in Japanese is Satoshi. That's what a Satoshi is. A coin, well, is 1 point with the zeros behind it. Coin, that equals 1 coin. So that's where we get 1 bit of a coin or Bitcoin. I thought that was quite interesting. Satoshi, and again, look up Nakamoto and you'll see that. I didn't put that in the presentation, but that's where Bitcoin sort of comes from. Now, Don Tapscott has got a book out. He's really knowledgeable about this sort of thing. And what you want to do is go to TED.com, type in Don Tapscott and watch his entire video. It's about 45 minutes long. I've taken a clip of about 1 minute that explains this thing called blockchain. And again, I didn't know what the dickens a blockchain was, but I tell you what, I've got informed now and I know what a blockchain is. And let's hear from the master himself.
And when a transaction is conducted, it's posted globally across millions and millions of computers. And out there around the world is a group of people called miners. These are not young people, they're Bitcoin miners. And they have massive computing power at their fingertips, 10 to 100 times bigger than all of Google worldwide. And these miners do a lot of work. And every 10 minutes, kind of like the heartbeat of a network, a block gets created that has all the transactions from the previous 10 minutes. And then, this is the key part, that block is linked to the previous block and the previous block to create a chain of blocks, and every one is timestamped, kind of like with a digital wax seal.
So that's a really encapsulated explanation of what a blockchain is. It's an unhackable chain of information that is, well, in a chain of blocks that goes right back to the beginning of the creation of the blockchain, which is really interesting. Again, watch the whole video over and over. I must have seen this video about 10 times now, and I'm beginning to really get the gist of what it's all about here. So if we take a look at a little bit more about the Bitcoin blockchain, it's going to have a maximum of 21 million Bitcoins and never any more. So unlike fiat currencies that you can print and print and print and print and print, and the more currency that's in circulation, the less valuable it becomes, it's the opposite with blockchains. As the Bitcoins come into circulation, the number of Bitcoins coming into circulation actually decreases over time, and it's anti-inflationary. So there's only one thing that can happen: price goes up. So as demand increases and supply does not equal demand, well, what happens to price? It goes up. So of April the 20th, the last time I took a look at this and updated this, there was 16,989,125 Bitcoins available. Now, every 10 minutes, as he said, every 10 minutes what happens is these miners, now they're not, well, the people that just own computers really, and they run algorithms, and they turn the computer on and go and get the cup of tea, and the computers churn away. They use quite a bit of power, and there's massive, as he says, computing power around the world. Right now, I think Quebec in Canada has just done a deal with miners where they get electricity at a discounted rate. So miners from all around the world are congregating in Ontario. There's a place up in Greenland where they built a massive computing center on top of the ice floe to keep the computers cool. There's companies out there like Intel that are specifically producing computer chips, specifically designed for computers that miners are using, that run very fast but very cool. There's a huge industry around the mining. So every 10 minutes, every time one of these new blocks is created, 12.5 new Bitcoin come into existence. So next 10 minutes, another 12.5. Now, every 4 years, that reduces by half. So in 2009, there was 50 Bitcoins every 10 minutes. In 2013 or whatever it was, it came down to 25. And in 2017, it came down to 12.5. Now 17, 18, 19, 20, 2021, it's going to come down to 6.25. So as the demand and this for Bitcoin increases exponentially, the supply keeps going in half. So that's why you're seeing Bitcoin take massive jumps every so often, like in 2017, because supply does not equal demand. And what happens then is price goes up. Now, it's also accepted now through a global merchant base, and it can also be exchanged back to fiat currencies via Bitcoin ATM machines, which is a big deal. All you got to do is get into your search engine on your web browser there and just type in Bitcoin, ATMs, and boom, they pop up virtually right across the world in every single major city like mushrooms. Vancouver has dozens and dozens and dozens of them. Calgary has dozens of them. We've got, I think it's a Second Cup coffee shop has them in there. In fact, these are some pictures I took from the internet, but at the top right-hand corner one, you can see there's a reflection of someone taking a photo of a Bitcoin machine. That's me, when Bitcoin was 6,091 Canadian dollars. And it's very simple. You just scan your wallet from your phone, and you can buy and sell. So some Bitcoin machines give cash out. They'll all accept cash in. Some of them give cash out, and they charge anywhere from 10 to 15 to 20% on the exchange rate. But they're all around the world. And so it means you can have your Bitcoin wallet on your phone. You walk up to the machine, you scan your phone against the machine, it's reading your phone, and you tell it, what do you want to do? Buy Bitcoin, sell Bitcoin. If you're going to sell it, it takes it from your wallet on your phone, away from you, and spits out some cash, and you walk away with your cash. Just like a regular ATM, instead of putting a debit card or a credit card in there with your bank attached to it, you've got your Bitcoin machine. Now, that wasn't available a 3 years ago. What's available now? That's another reason it's going through the roof here. And watch out for them. Type it in, see where the nearest Bitcoin machine is to you. And if it's in a coffee shop, go and get a cup of coffee and sit and watch that machine. And you'll see every on a regular basis, people coming in and using Bitcoin machines. Absolutely phenomenal. So this is what a Bitcoin wallet looks like. You can have as many wallets as you want set up, wallet 1, wallet 2, wallet 3. So you could have different wallets for different family members, or one for business, one for personal, whatever. One for your hedge fund, one for your personal account, one for your corporate account. I mean, whatever sounds good and exciting to you, you can set up as many wallets as you want and keep your Bitcoin in there. And at the bottom, it's really easy. Home takes you to the home screen we're looking at. You're either receiving Bitcoin, you're sending Bitcoin, or you're scanning somebody else's Bitcoin wallet. And you just type in. So if someone wants to send Bitcoin, you open up your scan, you scan their Bitcoin wallet, and they type in how much they're going to send you, in dollars or in Bitcoin. And it's done in seconds. And you end up with lots of happy, smiley looking people accessing their Bitcoin wallets online on their computers or on their phones, or on their cold storage devices or whatever. But I tell you, it's an exciting thing once you get your Bitcoin wallet set up. And as of April the 1st, when I decided to get involved in Bitcoin, I didn't know what a wallet was. I had to download one. So I got the Bitcoin wallet downloaded and gave the exchange some cash, and wow, it's amazing. Then I tell you what, about 10 times, 20, 30 times a day, I'm back in my wallet looking at Bitcoin going up and down, checking out how much it's worth. It's the most phenomenal thing when you first get involved in it. Now, you're going to come across Bitcoin exchanges, and they got funny names like BitNetflix and Bitstamps and Coinbase and BTC and Huobi and Kraken and Quadriga. And it's like, okay, what's this all about? Well, they're exchanges. They're just simply exchanges for the most part. They're all online that you're going to have to send your fiat currency to, either Visa, MasterCard, debit card, or whatever it is, or set up an account and wire transfer. Or if you're in a city that has a Bitcoin exchange in your city, like we do in Calgary and Vancouver, you can physically walk into these places and hand your cash over and get an immediate exchange here. But they all got funny names. But it's no different from, HSBC or the Royal Bank of Canada or TD Bank or whatever. Instead of bank names, you've got exchange names. Now, Bitcoin exchanges have different prices, because the busier and faster the exchange, the higher the price. It's a supply and demand situation. So if you've got a Bitcoin exchange and you want to exchange Bitcoin real quick, and again, you can change within your wallet as well the speed of transaction. The faster the transaction, the higher the exchange rate, or the exchange rate. The slower the transaction, the lower the exchange rate. And as you can see here, we've got three at the bottom. We've got BitNetflix, and we've got Bitstamp and BTCE as examples here. And on this particular date, May the 15th, this was the prices in the Bitcoin exchanges in US dollars. So it varied quite a bit, $100 and something in some cases here. And I've seen exchange rates as different as $200 in some cases. But again, the busier and faster the exchange, the higher the price. So, get used to some of these funny names and just, watch what's going on, really. Now, let's have a look here. 2017 for Bitcoin and cryptos was the age of acceptance. 2009, 2017, it had been on the market now for what, 7-8 years, coming into a level of maturity finally, or acceptance finally. And what happened? Well, let's have a see what happened here. Well, first of all, April the 1st. When I read this article on April the 1st, I said, that's it, I'm in. I'd been pitched at 10 cents a coin, $100 a coin, $500 a coin, and it drove all the way down to a couple of dollars a coin, then up and down. And they'd been pitched over and over and over by business acquaintances and friends of mine that had gotten into it. And I didn't get it because I was still thinking, transference of cash. That's all I was thinking. But when this came on board, I thought, holy smokes, if Japan, the third largest economy on the planet, makes it legal tender, I'm in. I didn't care. I jumped in my car with a handful of gold, because I got a little bit of gold that I hold, went to a gold exchange and cashed it in. And they always ask you, why are you cashing in your gold? Well, I'm going to get Bitcoin. Oh, Bitcoin. Oh, they just chuckled and laughed. Well, I took the cash and went straight to the exchange here, which at the time was a pokey little office as an offshoot of a Second Cup coffee shop. Second Cup coffee shop, and it had a little boardroom in there that they'd rented full time and were doing Bitcoin exchange. And I said, yeah, I got some cash, I want some Bitcoin. and give me, I don't know, a couple $3,000, whatever it was. I forget what it was now. And they're going, okay, great. What's your QR code? Your QR receipt code? I says, I don't know. What's that? Well, you need a Bitcoin wallet. Okay. So how do I get one of them? Well, you got to. So I just logged into my Apple App Store and downloaded a Bitcoin wallet in seconds. It was free. And boom, 30 seconds later, okay, I got my wallet. Now what? Well, click on receive. Okay, click on receive. Now what? Show me your phone. And they had one of those square barcodes on, and they scanned it. And within a couple of seconds, bam, I had Bitcoin in my wallet. I'm going, oh, wow, fantastic. Now you got to set up your security. So went home and set up the security on the wallet and so on and so forth. But I was in, and look at the price, $1,133 a coin. And I was pitched at 10 cents a coin back, in the day. But never mind, I was in. The excitement had started. Japan, and the first thing I did here is I got on Wikipedia and started checking out what the story with Japan was. Now, virtually immediately, Japan issued licenses for 11 Bitcoin exchanges, almost immediately after they made it legal tender, which meant now that the Japanese population could get their Bitcoin in the same way I got mine, very quickly indeed. So again, good old Wikipedia here. Wow, there's 126 million people in Japan. There's only 30 million or so in Canada. Holy smokes, and all these people are going to get involved in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is going to go through the roof just in Japan. Wow, am I ever glad I got in on day one when Japan came on board and made it legal tender, because Japanese are going to do the same thing. And what's going to happen here? Well, we had millions of businesses are going to start accepting Bitcoin. Whether it's a sushi restaurant, or whether it's a coffee shop, or whether it's a travel company, or whether it's a car company, or whether it's a, whatever, travel, it doesn't matter. They're all going to start accepting it by the millions, because there's got a lot of people in Japan, which means that tens of millions of Japanese will start using Bitcoin. And if that starts to happen, there's only one thing: supply and demand. It's got to go up. It's got to go up. I was really getting excited now. And within the year of 2017, 40% of all Bitcoin transactions were occurring just in Japan. I mean, these Asians, they're really on board with things much faster than out here in the West. We move like at the speed of snails in comparison to some of the economic trends that go on in Asia in comparison. And you want to know what's going on real fast, then you study what's going on in Singapore and what's going on in Japan and what's going on in Asia. And China, I mean, holy smokes. I mean, we're snails in comparison out this way. So here's the countries where Bitcoin's legal. Now, it's not necessarily legal. It's not necessarily illegal. There's gray areas in many of these countries, but there's nothing these countries and governments can do to shut Bitcoin down. There's no head office. There's no CEO of the company. They can't go anywhere and shut it down. But it's on a distributed ledger globally across the planet. So if a country comes along and says, oh, we're going to make it illegal in this country here, well, all the miners do is just pack up their bags, pick up the computers and go somewhere else and set up shop somewhere else. You can't shut down the internet. You can't shut down Bitcoin. It's not a bank. It's not a central location. It's a distributed ledger across millions and millions of computers globally. It's something that governments have either got, well, not either, they have to come to an understanding about what Bitcoin is and regulate it and get it regulated and licensed, which is what's beginning to happen. So where is Bitcoin accepted? This was another question that kept popping up all over the place. Well, if I've got Bitcoin, where can I spend it? Come on, get your brain box in action here. What do you mean, where can you spend? Who cares where you can spend it? You can go to an ATM and cash it back in if you need to. But where is Bitcoin accepted? Well, again, just get on Google or whatever and check it out. It's accepted in the West here by hundreds and hundreds of thousands of companies already. Any company that's got their thinking cap on is accepting Bitcoin because you want to be accepting it as it's low and going to go through the roof here. So that's just the West. Now, when you really get into this, I started thinking here. Richard Branson has been a proponent for forever and a day, and so is Elon Musk and so on and so forth. Now, this year, Richard Branson is he's doing his first galactic spaceship thing here, this Virgin Galactic ship, into an orbit, into outer space that carries 8 passengers. Takes off on the ground, you go into orbit and outer space and lands, you know, a couple hours later or whatever. Excuse me, it's $100,000 a ticket. His order books are full for 3 years. 3 years full of order books of 8 people a day willing to spend $100,000. Now, when Bitcoin hits $100,000 a coin, it's like one coin. There's tens of thousands of people out there that got more than one Bitcoin, and they've already saved up their trip into outer space. It's like, oh, well, here you go. There's a coin. Let's go for it. Elon Musk with his Tesla thing, you know, $30,000 for this new Tesla thing. Well, when it hits $100,000 a coin, 0.3 of a coin, bang, you got yourself a new Tesla. Well, guess what? I've got my 0.3 of a coin off to one side. As soon as it hits 100,000, I'm straight off to my Tesla dealership. There's my 0.3 of a coin. I'm in my brand spanking new car, and away we go. Companies are already gearing up for the evolution of the monetary system to take advantage of the people that understand what's going on in cryptocurrencies and have tailored their businesses around it, in my opinion. Now, shopping with Amazon. Well, here we go. This is an interesting article. If you get an iOS phone or an Android phone, you can download an application that you can now shop on Amazon and use Bitcoin. Well, there's 2.3 billion people now around the planet that could potentially shop on Amazon. Amazon is a massive, in fact, if not the biggest retailer on the planet right now. It's a huge deal. So you can use your Bitcoin with Amazon. Now, what else have we got? The entertainment industry. Now, here's something I learned about marketing back in the day. You've got to have the right product with the right company at the right time. And if the media is promoting the same concept or product that you've got, you don't even have to advertise. The media is advertising for you. They're educating your potential client base for you. So the right company with the right product at the right time with the media behind you, you cannot go wrong. So let's have a look at what the entertainment industry is talking about Bitcoin. Well, first of all, Amazon Prime, right? They've got 46 million members worldwide. Well, if you're a member of Amazon Prime and you go into the search menu and you type in Bitcoin, bang, these things pop up. So documentaries, right? The rise and rise of Bitcoin and Magic Money Bitcoin and the Bitcoin experiment. And that's all about Norway that went with Bitcoin. The Bitcoin story. There's no excuses not to be educated about Bitcoin rather than listening to your next door neighbor going, whoa. No, educate yourself and stop listening to these doom and gloom artists out there that haven't got a clue what they're talking about because they don't even have a wallet. You know, what's the other one? I'm a Netflix guy. Well, there's 104 million customers globally with Netflix. When you type in Bitcoin with Netflix, you got banking on Bitcoin. The rise and rise of Bitcoin's popped up again. And Bitcoin Heist, I think, is more of a movie. I haven't watched that one. But it's in the psyche. It's in the psyche and beginning to get into the psyche of hundreds of millions and billions of people globally that are hearing it. Bitcoin, 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 cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, blockchain, Bitcoin. It doesn't mean anything to them. That's where we're coming along to educate them, but it's in there. It's in there, and the people are listening. People are beginning to listen. Well, I mean, YouTube documentaries. Just get on YouTube and type in Bitcoin, and there's dozens of the things. There's Bill Gates. You know, it's a little bit like Austin Powers. Nobody can stop me now. You know, nobody can stop Bitcoin now. It's a big deal. Bitcoin, the end of money, banking on Bitcoin. What else have we got here? What is Bitcoin? 10 Bitcoin facts, magic money. The one at the bottom here, 10 reasons Bitcoin price will destroy all-time highs in 2017. I watched that one, and guess what I did? I went out and got some more Bitcoin. I got a couple more Bitcoin after that. It's like, holy smokes, I didn't understand that. Wow, bang, I got my car and straight down to Second Cup again and into the pokey little office where they had a Bitcoin exchange, which is now a massive exchange. They moved offices and got more Bitcoin. And I kept adding to my Bitcoin. And again, you don't have to get Bitcoin. You don't have to have, you know, what is it now? Like 10,000, 9,000 US dollars to get Bitcoin. You can get $100 worth of the stuff. It's like when you're building your gold portfolio. No, I can't afford an ounce of gold. Well, you don't need to get an ounce. Get $100 worth of gold. Get $1,000 worth of gold. Build your portfolio. $100 worth of Bitcoin is 0.000 whatever of a portion of a Satoshi worth of Bitcoin. But it's still $100 worth of Bitcoin or $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. Build your portfolio. Bitcoin Explained Life. But here, this guy at the bottom, Andreas Antonopoulos. I mean, wow, you have got to start listening to this guy. He is absolutely brilliant, a genius on cryptos and Bitcoin. And you've got to listen over and over and over until you start dreaming about what he's talking about, until it just rolls off the tongue when you're talking to people. And people come up, oh, Bitcoin this, oh, Bitcoin that. It's like, well, hang on a second, let me tell you about Bitcoin. And it just rolls off the tongue, and you're going to put them back in their place. And it also increases your confidence of why you're building a crypto portfolio, because you have the knowledge that other people don't. And it just goes on and on and on and on and on. It's phenomenal. There's no excuse for you not to be up to speed on what Bitcoin is about. Now, what is the financial industry talking about Bitcoin? This is really important, because these are the big boys, you know, the 1% of the population. And interestingly enough, I read an interesting article here about what it takes to become the top 1% of the global elite. And when you look at the numbers, 7 billion people on the planet, 1% is 70 million people. The 1% of the people on the planet that owns, I don't know, 98% of all the money, or whatever the figures are, is 70 million people. So what does it take to become one of those 1%? There's two forms of thought. One form of thought is you need $80,000, probably US dollars, not Canadian, but 80,000 US dollars in liquid assets, which means cash in the bank, gold that you can cash in immediately tomorrow and have cash, fiat currency, and or, well, these days as well now, cryptocurrencies that you can cash in like tomorrow, like Bitcoin, and have fiat currencies. $80,000. Now, the other form of thought is saying, yes, that does not include real estate holdings. So if you've got assets in real estate, that's not included. Whereas one form of thought says, yes, we'll include that, which will be a lot more people, obviously, than 70 million. And the other form of thought is, no, 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 it has to be liquid cash that you've got in your hand tomorrow. $80,000. Well, guess what? Holy smokes, I'm now one of those 1%. And probably people on this call are one of those 1% too. 1% of the 1% of the 1% of the global population have over 80,000 US dollars. We're in the top here. So the financial industry, though, these are the lot that deal in billions and tens and hundreds of billions of dollars. And what are they saying about Bitcoin? Well, Christine Lagarde, right, from the IMF, International Monetary Fund, you know, one word spoken in a sentence from her in front of an economic forum can make, you know, or lose millions of dollars within a portfolio. One of the most powerful women on the planet for sure, and probably one of the most powerful people on the planet for sure, as far as the financial industry is concerned. And she says a massive disruption, this is October the 13th, last year, IMF's Lagarde says cryptocurrencies must be taken seriously. And it goes on to here say, Bitcoin puts a question mark on the fractional banking model we know today. In a remarkably frank talk, she speculated that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency has as much future as the internet itself. It could displace central banks, conventional banking, and challenge the monopoly of national monies. And in the sentence at the very bottom here, it goes on to say, in a lecture that chastised her colleagues, and this was at the London World Economic Forum, she's speaking in front of, you know, 1,000 of the top bankers and money people on the planet here. In a lecture that chastised her colleagues for failing to embrace the future, she warned that not so long ago, some experts argued that personal computers would never be adopted and that tablets would only be used as expensive coffee trays. So I think it may not be wise to dismiss virtual currencies. And again, here's another thing, fractional banking. Now I've got a video on that, it's about 20 minutes long. I'm not going to show it today, but you need to understand what fractional banking is all about. And that goes into the complete and utter total ripoff of what fiat currencies is all about and the system that people are involved in that they don't even know. But however, we need to learn about inflation. And I've got a couple of minute video here about inflation. Inflation is a hidden tax levied on the population of countries by their governments because of the printing of money. So let's just learn a little bit about inflation here.
It is sometimes amazing that we haven't experienced more inflation than we have. If they keep expanding the money supply so vastly, why aren't our prices growing faster than they really are? And the answer is that a good chunk of the money that the Fed created has been shipped overseas. I remember early in my research, I heard this expression that the Americans have exported their inflation. I thought, what is that? How can you export your inflation? Put it in a box and send it out? What do you do? Well, now I understand. You export your inflation by simply sending all these dollars that you created to these other countries, and then they send you their refrigerators and their cars and whatever, their TV sets. So you get hardware, and they get little pieces of paper. It's a great deal for the American people for a while. For a while. Sooner or later, all of those pigeons come home to roost. When the time comes, as it looks like it's now coming, when the rest of the world is saying, we don't want to play this game anymore, Uncle Sam's dollars are just becoming worthless, there are too many of them, we've got to find something else other than American dollars, then those dollars start to come back to America. People say, we don't want them anymore. What do we do with them? Once this revs up and we've got this little trickle of money coming back that we previously exported, once it becomes a flood and it starts to rush back, now we are getting our former exported inflation brought back to us, and then we'll see the quantity of money inside the United States grow much more rapidly even than the Federal Reserve can create it, because we're getting a previous money back. And that's when we will really see the tanking of the U.S. dollar in terms of what it will buy.
Now, there's some really good stuff on that video, if you really understand what he's talking about here. And that's exactly what Trump has been doing. What he's done now is with the tax cuts and the way that he's getting the United States up to speed here with going after the drug gangs and getting the opiate crisis under control and setting up educational centers and making them and getting the borders under control and getting immigration under control and so on and so forth here. He's making America a nice place to have your company manufacturing products in America that's safe and secure with well-educated, well-paid employees. Now, the other thing he's done with this tax cut, too, is you're going to begin to see massive amounts of American dollars in investment come back into the United States. Apple, for example, is bringing in, what, $340 billion that they've got offshore because of the tax deal. Now the tax cuts have come through. Well, they're going to start bringing that. And that's just one company. So you'll see trillions of American dollars coming back into America. So with the tax cuts, American workers now are getting more wages, but the value of that currency is going to go down significantly very quickly due to inflation over the next number of years. Now, that's also got a positive and a negative side to it too, is the value of the American dollar goes down, it's cheaper for foreign countries to buy American stuff. So America now becomes the manufacturing hub of the world, especially in high tech, with products that's cheap to buy because the American dollar has gone down in value. So you get more for your dollar, for the euro, more for the yen, more for the yuan than you used to in the past. It's an absolutely brilliant situation. But for the individual American, well, you're getting more wages, but the value of those wages has gone down. You need to start thinking now about dumping the dollar and exchanging it to something that's going to be going up in value against it. Gold, obviously, is a good one because it's money, a true store of value over time. But gold doesn't really fluctuate a lot. It just holds its value. So as currency goes down in value, gold has gone up against it, and you're making, 5 or 10% a year or whatever it is. But by getting into cryptos, which is the evolutionary future of money, it has to be cryptos. Blockchain, unhackable, totally under your control, and nothing to do with banks and financial institutions. The average person is going to start shifting fiat into cryptos. And that's where you're going to start getting out of the inflationary system that people are already involved in. So here's another interesting article, September the 22nd, after Lagarde gets up there and, puts the stick about and tells the financial industry, listen, the lid is off the box of Pandora's box, the cat's out the bag, get to it, and let's get Bitcoin on the map. And since she's done that, well, they're all coming out the woodwork. Here's Morgan Stanley's CEO. Well, Bitcoin's more than just a fad, really. I know we've been saying woo, doom and gloom. And the reason all these financial institutions have been going woo, doom and gloom is to suppress the price of Bitcoin. So the more it's suppressed, the more they can get at a cheaper rate. Well, it's out the bag now. So it's, oh, well, it's more than just a fad, you know. We knew it all along, but you know, it's out the bag. Who's this dude? September 29th, U.S. bank regulator opens doors to national license for Bitcoin firms. The acting controller for the U.S. Treasury Department says he is open to an idea of a new breed of banks that might one day conduct business in Bitcoin and other cryptos. Now, here's the thing that banks are really niffed off about. If you're an American citizen or a Canadian citizen, you're going to travel to Europe or Mexico or anywhere around the world, you go into your bank or a currency exchange, and you exchange your dollars for euros or your dollars for pesos, and the bank makes a profit from the exchange. But right now, because they haven't adopted cryptos, if you go into a bank and say, well, here, I want to get some cryptos, I want some Bitcoin, they'll give you a funny look and the doom and gloom and show you the door. So you go to an external exchange, and the external exchange are making the profit from the exchange and not the banks. So what are the banks doing? They're getting licensed is what they're doing. So they do the exchange and they make the money by doing it. For instance, Bank of America wins a patent for cryptocurrency exchange. All of them are at the trough right now, seeing the trillions that have moved in and moved out of cryptos in the last year in 2017. And what's happened? Well, now it's becoming licensed and regulated, so that the banks are going to get involved in crypto exchange in just the way that you can walk in and say, well, I want some American dollars, I want some euros, I need some pesos, I need some, and give me some Bitcoin. Oh, no problem, sir. Here you go. There's the exchange, and they make the profits on the fees. That's what's going to be happening here. Goldman Sachs considering Bitcoin services for clients. I mean, I got tens, if not hundreds of billions of dollars of people's money tied up in stupid schemes with little pieces of paper and a signature on the bottom. Well, they start exchanging some of that into cryptos here. You know, it's rumored they're putting together a new trading outfit dedicated to cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, right? Friday the 13th. It's always on Friday the 13th. U.S. banks allowing immediate exchange for Bitcoin by Coinbase. If you're a U.S. citizen with a U.S. bank account starting Friday the 13th, you can now exchange up to 25,000 US dollars into Bitcoin immediately. Oh, it's for immediate. It should say for immediate delivery. Previously, customers had to wait several days for that transaction to occur. And I tell you what, wow, that weekend, Bitcoin jumped $1,000. Within the next couple of days, it jumped $1,500 up. Wow, I like that article because I was holding Bitcoin by then, quite a bit of it. Oh, what's this one all about? October the 20th, Ledger X trades 1 million in Bitcoin derivatives in the first week. Holy sweet, 1 million in Bitcoin derivatives exchanged in first week. The first regulated cryptocurrency derivative trades have taken place on a U.S. exchange. Derivatives, what the dickens are derivatives all about? Well, let's go and have a look. This is a website called usdebtclock.org, and there's europeandebtclock.org, and there's Japanese debt clock, and all these numbers here are live. It's got all kinds of stuff in here, like up in the top left-hand corner here, where it says U.S. national debt. 21, then it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 figures behind the 121. So that means it's $21 trillion, of US debt. But that's not US debt. That's government debt. That's the debt the government is in that they need to run the show. Right? First of all, they've got to pay the rent on the White House, which ain't cheap. Then they've got to pay some wages. They've got 400,000 federal employees they've got to pay wages for. Then they've got to pay wages for the Army and the Navy and the Air Force and the Marines. And they've got to buy, build machines and buy aircraft and guns and planes and boats and so on and so forth. And then they've got to pay for, the running of the government ain't cheap. And they need about $1 trillion every 90 days or so. In fact, if you remember, just about 5 or 6 weeks ago, Trump borrowed, $1.5 trillion. And, that just goes onto the national debt there. And you can see that going up like crazy. But that's the government debt, nothing to do with national debt. The real debt here, and there's all kinds of things. You got the debt per citizen, the debt per taxpayer. But down here where my mouse is running around, credit and derivatives to do with these credit default swap things. What are these things all about? But look at this. 575, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 575 trillion. That's the real debt against the American dollar, right? The real debt against the American dollar. You take Europe and you take Japan. The fiat currency market right now is estimated to be about $1,000 trillion worth of debt tied to it. It's a system that's already failed. It's already broken. It'll never, ever, ever dig its way out of the hole. The only way that it can do it is to evolve into the next stage of the monetary system, which is cryptocurrencies. So out of that 5 trillion a day in the Forex exchange right now, there's no reason within 5 years that might not be 20% or 30% or 50% of that may be in cryptos. And what's left over is in Forex. And as these 575 trillion are exchanged into cryptos, that's why we're talking trillions and tens and potentially hundreds of trillions of dollars moving from one system into the other, from debt into asset. It's a brilliant way to get out of a sticky situation. And there's now, I believe, 3 derivatives exchanges now that have been regulated and licensed since Lagarde got up there and put the stick about to get things moving. So it's on the way here. Now, what else have we got? Futures trading. December the 10th. Futures trading. Now you can trade in futures with Bitcoin, and the futures market is a massive market as well. And what's this here? Chairman and CEO of CBOE, which is a big futures exchange in Chicago. Given the unprecedented interest in Bitcoin, it's vital we provide our clients trading tools to help them express their views and hedge their exposure. We are committed to encouraging fairness and liquidity in the Bitcoin market. To promote this, we'll be offered futures trading for free. Well, the trading may be free, but I can guarantee that the exchange is not, and they're making a small fortune on the exchange. Let's have a look at the growth or the rate of growth of Bitcoin through the last portion of 2017. So we've got the market capitalization, we've got the 24-hour exchange volume, and we've got the price in US dollars, October the 20th. So just simply days after Lagarde gets out there and puts the stick about, says, okay, boys, let's get to it. Cat's out the bag. Let's get it moving here. What have we got? 9 days later, it's gone from 87 billion to 102 billion market capitalization. 24-hour exchange volume has more than doubled. Then we've got November the 5th, what, a week later, 125 billion. Exchange volume, 5.5 billion a day. Then what have we got here? Like 24 days later, look at it. It's gone up almost $100 billion as market capitalization. 24-hour exchange volume is almost 10 times per day than it was. Then a week later, 203 billion. Exchange volume. It's down a little bit, but again, exchange volume isn't always fiat to Bitcoin. It's also Bitcoin Dash, Bitcoin Litecoin, back to this, and it's exchange volume. December the 7th, a couple of days later, 273 billion. I mean, that's another $70 billion in a few days. And the exchange volume here up to 15.9 billion. And then December the 8th is, I stopped taking track after this. It just got a bit stupid. But almost a third of $1 trillion. A third of $1 trillion into Bitcoin. In short order here with 22.4 billion as an exchange volume. And it kept going up from there. I think Bitcoin got as high as 19,000 US dollars just before Christmas. As I say, I ran out of space and ran out of this, that, and the other. So there's a massive financial industry based on Bitcoin. There's blood, sweat, and tears. There's financial assets. There's time and effort and energy massively has been put into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. This ain't going to go away. It's just not going to go away. It doesn't matter what the spotty-faced teenage kids in their basement of their home with some stupid YouTube thing going on is saying about it. This is the reality of it. It's not going away. It's deeply, deeply, deeply integrated into the financial system. Bitcoin is. And everyone's out there saying, oh, the next Bitcoin has just come along. Get into this. Well, whatever it is that's just come along is not integrated into the financial market with 6 or 7 or 8 years behind it. The Bitcoin is. It's a massive industry. And we look at it here. This is the integration of blockchain and Bitcoin. They're all in it. The whole lot are at the trough, feeding at the trough, getting ready for the most massive movement of capital from one fiat currency system to the cryptocurrency system that we'll ever experience in our entire lifetimes, and it's happening now, between now and 2021. And in 2021, again, when Bitcoin goes from, 12.5 to 6.25 Bitcoin every 10 minutes, and the exponential growth of hundreds of millions of people that are finally waking up and getting educated, that want to get involved in Bitcoin and cryptos, as that is occurring, the curve of the ones coming in and the demand is increasing exponentially, the supply is going to be halved again. Prices are only going to go up, and that's how you're going to get to $100,000, $500,000, $1 million a coin. There's only going to be 21 million coins, and this is just going to increase significantly as the big boys come on board here. So here's the reality. This is a chart, and I'm still blown away by, people don't even know how to read a chart. They look at charts and go, they just phase out. You can see their eyes go blank, become dull. But charts are fairly simple, actually. So here we're looking at the top left-hand corner here. What are we looking at? BTC USD. Whatever is to the left of a currency pair or a pair is what you're looking at on the chart. So BTC is the acronym here for Bitcoin. And this is Bitcoin going up. So the blue ones are going up in value for the day, and the red ones are going down in value for the day. Bitcoin goes up, Bitcoin goes down. Bitcoin goes up, Bitcoin goes down. Up and down against what? Well, in this case, US dollar. That's what these numbers are on the right-hand side. They tell you at any instant in time what the actual value is at that point in time of a Bitcoin against the US dollar. So it goes up and it goes down. So here's some of the milestones. April the 1st was a milestone for me because that's the day I got into Bitcoin. And I wish I'd gotten in when it was 10 cents a piece, but here we go. It's $1,000 a Bitcoin. Cashed in some gold and got some Bitcoin. It went up, and I'm in there 10, 20 times a day checking out the price, and it's just incredible. And then this was a massive milestone. Bitcoin becomes more valuable than gold. And boy, am I ever glad I cashed in some of my gold to get Bitcoin. And now I'm laughing because the guy behind the counter, when he sold me when he cashed in the gold, well, what are you going to do with it? Well, I'm going to get Bitcoin. And he just laughed. I'm just howling with laughter because the guy hasn't got a clue. Now, actually, since then, I've cashed in some of my Bitcoin. I bought back the gold I used in the first place, doubled my initial gold holdings. And yeah, really happy with that. But Bitcoin, and then it went up, and then it came down. And for you that, it's called the Fibonacci scale. And as the maturity of things go through, like the euro and so on and so forth, it's all based on Fibonacci. That's integrated in the banking system. So it was coming down here. All those naysayers are feeling all chuffed. They're justified. Oh, it's going to crash again. I told you it would be. Am I ever glad I didn't get in? And blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, I'm looking at the Fibonacci scale here. And these colored lines are part of the Fibonacci scale. Going, holy smokes, more. I'm going to get more. I'm going to go and get more. And again, you don't have to get a whole Bitcoin. I got $100 worth. I was getting $200 worth at a time. $200 here, $200 there. The following week, $500. Whatever spare currency I had, I was getting Bitcoin. Because I understood something that a lot of people don't. Bitcoin doesn't cost anything. Gold doesn't cost anything because we're not buying it. People go, oh, I can't afford gold. I go, what do you mean you're not buying it? It doesn't cost anything. And they give you a strange look. They go, no, gold is $1,700 or whatever. It doesn't cost anything. There's a difference between a purchase and an exchange. So if you walk into Starbucks or anywhere, you buy something, you buy a car, you buy anything. But for example, Starbucks, you walk into Starbucks and you order a coffee. You give them a couple of bucks. You walk out with your coffee. You drink your coffee. Now, who's got your money? Well, Starbucks do. They got you $2. It's no longer in your pocket. You drank it. That was a purchase. But if you take, $2 or $20 or $1,000 and you go and get gold and you hand your gold over your $2,000 across the counter and they've got your $2,000 and you walk out, what have you got in your pocket? Gold. And how much is that gold worth? $2,000 minus the exchange fee. You've still got your money. It's just in a different format. Right? And you can cash the gold in and get your fiat currency back again. Now, if you did that exchange back again immediately within minutes, yes, you're out of pocket. But if you hold on to the gold for a while, you're going to be in pocket and up because fiat currency goes through inflation and goes down in value, whereas gold holds the value. Same thing with cryptos. Doesn't matter when you get in, even if cryptos go down in value, just hold on to it because long term, it's going up, depending on the crypto you get, obviously. Right, but it's an exchange. You've got your $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, or you got your $1,000 worth of fiat currency. Well, I'm not holding on to my fiat currency. I know for a fact it's going down in value, especially in the United States, because of inflation. because of the monetary policies. And I know that cryptos is going to go through the freaking roof because it's the evolution of the monetary system. So I'm exchanging one for the other. I've still got the value. It's just in a different format. So it doesn't cost anything to get into this. It's an exchange and not a purchase. So then it went up and then it came down again. 50% retracement. Wow, I'm getting more. I'm getting more. It's also called dollar cost averaging. So if you get in on a peak and it comes down, well, obviously you've lost on that particular exchange or losing at that particular point in time on that exchange. But if also you got in at an earlier stage at a lower amount, well, you add the two together and divide it by the difference and so on and so forth. Dollar cost averaging. It's to do with the average of everything you've got and the cost it costs to get in at the time. So boom, it's coming down to 38.2%. I'm in. I want more. Comes down to 50%. I want even more, because this is the natural evolution or the maturity of any system. Specifically, we're talking monetary systems or currency systems here. October the 13th, Friday the 13th, US banks allow immediate execution of Bitcoin through Coinbase. It was 4,800. And again, these are daily candlesticks. And you can see that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, it jumped like $1,000. And within a few more days, within a week, it jumped like 1,500 US dollars. And in Canadian, that's exciting because we make an extra 25% on top of that in our dollar amounts. Right, first regulated Bitcoin derivatives exchange opens up on a week later. And you can see how this thing goes. Capitalization, 102 billion. Capitalization here, 125 billion. And I ran out of space on the chart. I couldn't compress it anymore to get more chart in. So I gave up keeping track of it from this point on. But it went up to just shy of 24,000 Canadian. And I think at the peak here, if I look at my charts real quick here, it peaked out at, give or take a bit, it peaked out at 19,741 US dollars. Now, since then, what has happened? Well, it's come all the way back down again, because the big boys out there and the trillions of dollars that had gone into and out of the cryptocurrency market, the big boys out there thought, okay, it's hit a milestone here. Let's cash out. And everyone cashed out, and it came all the way down. And again, the doom says, oh, it's over. It's coming down to zero. It's finished. It'll never last. We told you so. You know? Well, no. It came down to 6,400 US dollars, 61.8% retracement level. Why? Because this 2017 was the age of acceptance. So everyone was diving in and getting in on the bandwagon and making millions and tens and hundreds of millions of dollars. Then they cash out back into fiat currencies. Now what's happening? Well, it peaked, it dropped down to what, 4,000, what did it drop down to here? It came down to 5,800, just shy of $6,000 US. And now it's on the way back up again. Because what's happening now is the big boys especially going, wow, this system works. We can put cash in our fiat and get cryptos. We can take our cryptos and get back into fiat. Wow, this thing really works. And trillions of dollars have gone through the system. This thing really works. Governments have woken up and they're going, okay, what we need to do now then is the next phase is, let's get into this. Boom, 2018 and beyond. The age of regulation and licensing. Through regulating cryptos and then licensing companies to do crypto exchanges, this is what's happening. The age of regulation and licensing. And this is going to take, 6 months, 9 months, a year, 18 months, a couple of years before the regulations and the licensing are really starting being produced like crazy. So about 2019, 2020, 2021, then all of the big boys are at the trough here with trillions of dollars at their fingertips that are, with a click of a mouse, can move billions and hundreds of billions from fiat to crypto and back again and make an exchange for doing it. It's the new way the currency is going to be used, totally digital, totally blockchained. It's the evolution. Now, the real difference in this, though, is that with Bitcoin, nobody else owns it. A bank doesn't own it. A financial institution isn't in control of it. You own it. It's on your wallet, on your phone, on your cold storage device, totally under your control. And you have the control that you never had with fiat currencies. So nobody can take it away. And that is the future of Bitcoin. I strongly suggest you all go to TED.com and watch this video by Tom Tapscott. That's about 45 minutes long, and really get a gist of it and watch it over and over and over until you get a gist of that. So where do we come into all of this? Well, CryptoCashNation. What's a blockchain? Well, we'll teach you what a blockchain is. Well, how does an e-wallet really work? Well, we'll teach you how an e-wallet really works. Well, how do you build a crypto portfolio? Well, we'll show you how to build a crypto portfolio. We'll give suggestions. We can't tell you to buy and sell and exchange or whatever, because we're just not in that industry, but we can make suggestions and talk to you about it and show you where the doors are and give you information about the cryptos that are up and coming and the initial coin offerings and so on and so forth. But you're going to become a part of a community, a part of a co-op here. And that as you introduce people and they introduce people, well, there's going to be a payout coming back, a referral plan, as you were, coming back to you. So by referring people to our educational co-op, you're going to get paid for doing that. Every company on the planet has a referral plan, give or take a bit. Well, if you take those referrals that are coming back to you and they're paid to you in Dash currency, Bitcoin and Dash currency, then you can increase the speed of your portfolio building substantially, significantly. So you're not just making dollars or tens or hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. You're making hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars over the next number of years here through the growth of this. So our fees are, well, free, $15, and we're thinking of introducing other levels as well. But it is a phenomenal plan that we've got here that we're introducing, and tools that we're introducing too. So if you're involved, great. If you're not involved, well, get involved and get everyone and the mother-in-law that you know involved as well, and start getting in on the webinars and start getting in on the information in the back office and the education that we've already got here. And real quick, I'll just log in and give you a quick example of this here. And the webinars, in my opinion, are one of the strongest tools we've got. And if you go to dashboard right now, here's the webinar schedule. So right now on Saturday, and this is it. So the next webinar that we need to be promoting is going to be on Monday. And it's real simple. You just simply take this here, copy, and paste it into an email, a text message, whatever, and get your best friends, your family members, your business acquaintances on here to get them involved in at least listening. They can sign up for free, and then go to the educational center and start learning a little bit about what we've got and being introduced to CryptoZ and the team here and seeing what we've got. So the free bit teaches you about a wallet and teaches you about a blockchain and stuff. That's all free. Now, for the $15 a week, well, that takes you to the next level. And now you're starting to build a crypto portfolio with confidence. Because you've got mentors and people that know what we're doing behind you that you can easily listen to. Newsletters out there for some of these educational things are in the hundreds of dollars a month. So we've got a phenomenal plan here. So with that, I'm going to pass it back to Russ, who hopefully is still recording all of this. And he's unmuted himself. So Russ, you're back on board?
Fantastic job, Robin. That is absolutely wonderful. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to see if Zoltan, are you available right now?
Yes, I am. I'm
wonderful.
here.
Why don't you just give us a 1 to 2 minute kind of wrap up on this video and what we're really about here at CryptoCash, and then at that point I'll wrap it up and we'll get this video out to everybody in the next few hours. I'll get through the processing of it and share it and bring everybody to that Monday night, the next session we have on Monday night at 7. So I'm going to turn over to you really quick here, Z.
Yeah, sure. I just kind of realized that I can't get enough of Robin, although I have known him really more than 20 years or around 20 years, but I could listen to you, Robin, basically really day and night. And even for me there, I always find something new and interesting elements, and how Robin is kind of approaching this. I think this is the right way. So it's very entertaining. Congratulations, Robin. I really enjoyed it extremely. And it's really hard now even to say a word or two after that, because if somebody doesn't see what's coming? Well, we can have all the tools and technologies out there, but at the end of the day, it's you who will make the decision. And it just really a sentence or two. Bitcoin completely changed my life last year. I didn't know about cryptos. However, being a Forex trader, I found it way too volatile for me, very honestly. So I traded a little bit, but I didn't see that it can become a very tradable kind of currency. However, the last year was really the break one for me as well, when I realized that it's a lot more than just Bitcoin. It's about blockchain or any other kind of technology that will come after that. And all the numbers what Robin is bringing up, those are certainly mind-boggling, but numbers never lie. That's what I loved here. You can do different kind of manipulations around that, but supply and demand is there. It doesn't go anywhere. So if something is by supply is limited, like Bitcoin is 21 million, then the demand for this particular asset class, it will take just a question of time when the price will go up. That's the economics based on that. So without any kind of further very details, if really you don't see the forest from the trees, we are here to help. And the bottom line is you do have here a team, a community around it. Because a few of us are traders as well. We do understand that trading or investing is a kind of lonely business. But as a distinction or a difference from my personal kind of trading style, I trade a lot less here and holding a lot more, and the fundamentals are helping a lot more to make informed and educated and profitable decisions. And now you will have a tool where you can basically track my record or recommendations or suggestions, although the disclaimer is there. And certainly it's not about me or somebody else. We would like, honestly, you to succeed, because it's an unmissed, or if there is a word, something like that, unmissable kind of opportunity here. And just educate yourself, invest time and effort in yourself. Nobody can take it away from you. And that's the whole kind of lesson of it. And we have been trying to improve upon. I think it's a kind of collective promise, whether it is Russ, JC, Robin, Thomas, Simon, or whoever is helping us. We will be getting better and better as we know. Because please do understand, we are not kind of trained educators here. We learned from our own mistakes. What we made mistakes, we would like you to avoid it, and just to understand what the opportunity, it is being presented by the entire kind of planet here. And with that, I certainly want to wish you a wonderful, wonderful weekend, a rainy one here in Vancouver. And I just want to take the opportunity here to say hello to Chinoa. I like her a lot. I'm very glad that you are around. I believe now we will make it right, Chinoa, this time. So if you are with us, it's more than happy. The best is really yet to come. Thank you, guys.
Awesome, and thank you, Robin, for such a fantastic synopsis of Bitcoin, its rise, and where it's going with respect to regulation. And Crypto Z, thanks for chiming in here and sewing everything up. So we're going to end this. We're going to end this now. Let's stop this recording and.